My dream is to become a hero. I know, kind of stupid, right? I get that you can't just snap your fingers and poof, you're in a cape with your first initial plastered over your chest. But let's face it, the world we live in could really use some heroes. Feels like every day I come across some new, sad story. Where's the harm in wishing for more sunshine? Anyways, I know heroes really do exist. And I was saved by one. Well, saved might be an exaggeration, but I was a timid little squirt, and he was always there for me. He was just so darn cool. I wanted to be brave like him. I wanted to protect people like him. Eventually, my hero left our hometown to become a knight. If I was going to follow in his footsteps, then that meant I needed to take up the old helm and armor too. Wasn't sure if a weak crybaby like me would ever amount to much. But hey, whoever changed the future by getting hung up on the past? You probably already figured this out, but this hero I've been talking about? None other than my childhood friend, Lancey. And let me tell you, he's like something out of a fairy tale. Brave, smart, strong. Back in the day, all the grown-ups would call him a prodigy. If it wasn't for him, I might have never become the shining knight of Fiendrock that I am today. Man, I still have a long way to go. I won't stop until I'm the best me I could possibly be. Here's a story from way before I became vice captain of the White Dragons. One day, I was waiting for Lancey at a harbor in Fiendrock. When hours passed and he still didn't show, I started to get nervous. The sound of the surf, which had been super calming until then, turned dark and whispery. Weird, but okay. Snooping around, I found out the true dragon Fafnir had returned. The royal powers that be were putting together a force to beat him. And of course, the person leading it was the captain of the White Dragons, Lancey. My best friend was about to march into the jaws of a literal fire-breathing lizard, and he was gonna do it without me. I couldn't let that happen. In a panic, I started back for the capital. So there I was, rushing along, worried half out of my mind, when I met the Grand Cypher's captain for the first time. Apparently, the crew was also headed for the capital of Fiendrock, so I told him to stick with me. The more the merrier, right? Except, I wasn't exactly merry, and the captain could see that. Unable to stand it any longer, I spilled my heart out. I talked about the divide between me and Lancey, about how all I ever wanted was to be there for him, on and off the battlefield. For every baby step forward I took, Lancey soared. I was weaker than him, ranked lower than him. I wasn't enough. And this whole Fafnir business had just driven everything home. Everyone had immediately gone to Lancey, asking him to lead the way, save the day. On the other hand, I didn't get so much as a backwards glance, so I was just some random foot soldier. What? I didn't get to whine when my best friend was out there risking his life. I needed to stop feeling sorry for myself and put in the work so I could start feeling proud instead. Lancey's a born fighter and a genius. He's also human. The pressure on him is crushing. I had to get strong enough to support him. Hearing this, the captain asked if I wanted to join the crew. Of course, I would never quit the White Dragons, but maybe a temporary change in direction was what I needed. I'd run myself into a rut. New scenery, fresh perspective, all part of a healthy breakfast for a growing boy like me. So I took the offer, determined to go back to the White Dragons bigger and better than ever. But I digress. Back to the Fafnir problem. All you really need to know is, it spiraled way out of control. The fate of the kingdom hangs in the balance kind of stuff. Thanks to Lancey and the captain, Fiendrock managed to find its way back to normalcy. Me? I'd been changed forever. Though we'd been fighting a dragon, I ended up learning a lot about people. Strengths, weaknesses, what scared us, made us tick. Had some people pass out in my life and others come into it. My eyes were open to a lot of things, and not all of it pretty. But I'll take it. Because it's the sum of our experiences, the good and the bad, that make us who we are. Fast forward in time, and bam! Your boy Vane's vice captain of the White Dragons. Took big dreaming, a lot of hard work, and a hefty helping of best friend anxiety, but I got there. Now, don't get me wrong, rank, titles, all that stuff's just words, you know? What kid doesn't like getting a gold star? And this was a big, shiny gold star that said, "Congratulations, you're on your way to becoming a hero." Plus, now I got to be part of all the important security meetings. If Lancey needed help, I'd be the first to know. For once, I was feeling pretty confident in myself. Vice captains have it tough, but I was more than happy to do the work. It wasn't all smooth sailing, though. After a few months, some nasty rumors began circulating through the barracks. People were saying I got my job through nepotism, just because I was friends with Lancey. It was kind of a dark time. I've been trying to come up with things that I accomplished when I realized there were none. At least, nothing that I'd accomplished on my own. This whole time, I'd just been riding on other people's coattails. The captain, as always, lent me a shoulder to cry on, and we agreed to meet up again in a few days. But when the time came, two, burlier figures were standing beside the captain, Siegfried and Percival. They were there to spar with me and judge, once and for all, if I deserved to be vice captain of the White Dragons. definitely teared up a little. These were two of the people I looked up to most in the world. They could take whatever I threw at them. My hopes, my insecurities, the lessons I learned. I put everything I had into that battle. And in return, Siegfried and Percival gave me everything they had. Fighting the two of them was as intense as you'd expect. But once I got over my throbbing calves and aching deltoids, I felt really lucky. I had good people looking out for me. They showed me how far I'd come, and I could go the distance. I went back to the castle determined to hide everything from Lancey. He had enough on his plate. But you know how best friends are. Trying to keep secrets from them is like trying to hide an onion in a muffin. He cornered me. So, with nowhere left to run, I spilled the beans. Told him how the rumors had drained my confidence, and I didn't feel good enough to be his vice captain. Or his best bud. I felt horrible. I had the greatest friends in the skies telling me they believed in me. And still, I couldn't believe in myself. Lancey waited for me to get everything off my chest before speaking.
Vane, I recommended you for vice captain because I considered you the most qualified. The motion passed because the king and the white dragons felt the same way.
And just like that, a weight was lifted. Seems like all I really needed was to know my best friend trusted me. And now that we'd re-established this trust, there was only one thing left to do. Beat each other silly. We snuck out to the training grounds in the middle of the night and sparred until our legs gave out. Then, we lay spread eagle on the ground, looking up at the stars. Those little twinkling dots were so inspiring. They're out there, a billion miles away. But still, their light manages to reach us. My dream of becoming a hero might be far off. But if the stars can make the trip, so can I. So this next adventure began on a day in Zega Grande like any other. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, and I was soaking up some rays after a pleasant morning of grocery shopping. That's when I heard it.
Long live the Blue Sky Knights!
Yes, the fierce cry of a child in its natural habitat. Enough to strike fear into the heart of any warrior.
I've never seen you around here. Intruder alert! Intruder alert! Knights, assemble! Cannonball formation!
They came hurtling at me, faster than the wind. I stood no chance.
We're the Blue Sky Knights, servers of justice and roasters of villains. Who goes there?
But all jokes aside, these tykes were adorable. Reminded me of my own days playing Knights and Dragons. With both hands in the air, I thought long and hard about how to respond. I for sure didn't want to pull out my usual, "I'm Vane, Vice Captain of the White Dragons." I mean, capturing a real knight while playing make-believe could be an awkward sitch for the kids. But it also wouldn't be right to lie. Then, a candle lit up over my head. I'm Vane, the wayfaring chef.
Wait, you're a chef? That means you're an expert at brewing stews and baking pastries, correct?
I blinked. I hadn't expected such an energetic response. What? Oh yeah, and I've got the proof right here. I pulled out a bag of cookies, which may or may not have been meant for Vern and Lyria, but they'd understand, right? I'll bake them some more. Anyways, passed out the cookies, and in the space of a few bites, The tots were leaping around like it was their birthday. And yes, before you say anything, I do realize that bribing the future defenders of our sky with munchies might not have been the best for character building. But you should have seen their smiles.
You have some potential, Sir Chef. I'll let you cook for us as our square. I'm Skip, by the way, captain of the Blue Sky Knights.
We were on to headhunting already? These kids didn't mess around. I'm honored, Captain Skip. But to tell the truth, I'm kind of busy right now. Oh no. They were hitting me with the pout of despair in the eyes of the puppy dog. I bit my lip. This little game wouldn't take too long, right? Still, it has always been my dream to cook for the Blue Sky Knights. Squire Vane, at your service. I just didn't have it in me to rain on their parade. After dubbing me in a formal ceremony, Captain Skip raised his tiny fist in the air.
We got our chef. Next, we have to search for a base. Split up, soldiers. We meet back here in 1 hour.
The rest of the kids responded with a rousing cheer. And then, they were off.
Hey, Sir Chef, that means you too.
I saluted. Couldn't disobey direct orders from a commanding officer. Anyways, I still had time to spare. I was gonna find these kids the coolest base ever. Okay, I won't let you down. Captain said there's some good spots around here. Just gotta make sure they're safe. Whoops! Looks like this place is already occupied. Buckle up! Done and dusted. Now, let's look for safer real estate. More monsters. This is definitely not a kid-friendly joint.
Over here! I'll cover you!
That wasn't work out and a half. I think I might be in monster territory. Nancy and I used to love exploring the woods. Woohoo! It's a party up in here! But it looks like I wasn't invited. Very nice. Please don't let there be monsters. Please don't let there be monsters. Ah, pancakes, you scared me. Man, bet this place is near a migration route.
I just shut it half!
And the hunt continues. Oh, don't think I can go any farther. What if I tried looking up higher? No monsters, perfect size and location? Wait, I think I see a path on the other side of that thicket. I bet it leads to Folka. Captain Skip! I think I found it! I led the kids to a sweet glade I discovered in the woods. It was right next to a big thoroughfare, so they wouldn't have to worry about monsters or getting lost. I mean, if I could find my way back, then anyone could. Still, the place was surrounded by some nifty bushes and trees that shaded it from prying eyes. All in all, I think I did pretty well. And, judging from all the frolicking going on, the Tykes agreed. Captain Skip pulled out a handmade flag that he'd apparently just been carrying around and stuck it in the ground.
This land is now the hideout of the Blue Sky Knights!
And sure, the thought, technically knights don't have hideouts, flashed into my mind, but you can't expect kids to know that. Actually, you know what? These Tykes might be onto something. Maybe I should ask Lancey for her own secret base later. Anyway, for the time being, I was in what had to be one of the top 10 hideouts in all the skies. I found a nice, plush patch of moss and plopped down. It was a good day.
There's this special request. Well then, so long. There's this special request.
Every time the crew touched down in Folka, I would make a beeline for the Blue Sky hideout. Half of it was me being a responsible adult and wanting to make sure the Tykes were okay. But there was also the call of duty. Wouldn't be much of a chef's square if I let the troops go hungry, would I? Don't worry, I didn't stuff the kids with just carbs. I also fed them knowledge. Things like what fruit to eat, what shrooms and plants were poisonous, how to tell if a flower had edible nectar, and where to hide from monsters. Lesson number 1, though, was how to locate drinkable water. The kids were living on the edge of a forest, after all. One day, this information could save their lives. For now, at least, it was all in good fun, and the Tykes were loving it. Whenever I gave them a demonstration, they'd rush to repeat it. 9 times out of 10, they'd fail, but instead of getting discouraged, they started a race to see who could get it right the fastest. And I'd always get this strange feeling that I'd traveled back in time. Back to when I was a squire, a Fiendrock, just beginning to discover the world.
Hey, Sir Chef, see that bug up there? You think you can catch it?
Gotcha. All right, gather around, knights. So, this little guy is super good at sensing monsters. Whenever danger approaches, he's the first to hide. There's actually a rhyme about it. Goes, bug on tree, monster free. Bug in ground, monsters around. Those kids were the most inquisitive students you could hope to meet. Soaked up knowledge like a sponge. If I had to choose just one lesson I wanted them to take away, though, it would be know when to ask for help. Because reaching out to others isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of trust. And without trust, you can't build an order of knights or any relationship. Growing up doesn't mean you have to solve all your problems alone. I hoped the kids wouldn't lose sight of that, as I once did. One sunny afternoon, I was heading to the woods with the Tykes when I saw a boy crouched in the shadow of the city walls. Who's he? An innocent question, but Captain Skip glowered and folded his arms.
Just some weirdo from Tempeel. He always looks like his balloon just popped. Once, I asked him if he wanted to be a knight, and he started crying. It's probably better to just leave him alone.
Skip ended this bit with a snort that said, "And that's that." But I couldn't help glancing back at the boy. There was something about him that seemed so lonely. Hey, Captain Skip, this is just my humble opinion, but isn't the duty of a knight to help people? Especially those who kinda sorta look like they might be in need. At this, Skip's face puckered up so hard, you'd have thought I squeezed lemon juice into his mouth. I got where the little dude was coming from, though. It wasn't always easy to do the right thing. But that's what made it so rewarding.
You're not wrong, Sir Chef. Defending justice means defending the weak.
Skip dashed over to the city walls. After what looked like a pretty one-sided conversation, he came back with the boy in tow.
Say hello to the newest member of the Blue Sky Knights!
I couldn't keep from smiling. In that moment, Skip and the lonely boy were the mirror image of Lancey and me when we were kids. It didn't take long for Noobs and the rest of the Tykes to become fast friends. Oh, that's the nickname they gave to the boy from Tempeel, by the way. Noobs. Within weeks, Noobs had transformed into one of the brightest and most active kids in the city. But he'd had a reason to be sad. Turned out, Noobs had lost his parents in the Tempeal incident. He'd moved to Folka after being adopted by relatives. Poor kid deserves some sweetness in his life, after all that bitterness. I did what I could for him, bringing my best creations to the Blue Sky hideout. Today's special was one of Lancey's favorites, Vane's Paradise Pudding. Smooth, creamy, and so very rich. The sugar had apparently put the kids in a talkative mood. They'd barely gotten their spoons out of their mouths when they started competing for the title of Best Food Commentator. Eventually, this evolved into a debate on which Vane creation was the tastiest. Captain Skip claimed it was the cookies I'd given them the day we met, because they were seasoned with memories. Pretty poetic for a kid of like 7. I love those cookies too, though. They were a recipe from Grandma. Even Noobs was eager for a piece of the action. Warmed my heart to see the shy little guy come out of his shell. But you know how it is with this world. The skies are clearest right before the storm. My next visit to Folka, I could tell something was wrong as soon as I stepped foot in the city. All the adults stood huddled outside their homes, discussing, arguing. A few were weeping. Turns out, it was the Tykes. They had gone missing. The news hit me like an oncoming airship. I remembered how to breathe again. I rushed over to Ace, one Blue Sky Knight who'd stayed behind.
What do we do? What if they never come back?
I'll find them, I promise. But you need to tell me what happened. It started with Noobs. Still unused to the layout of Folka, he'd gotten lost in the woods. After about 6 hours, Skip put together a search team and went after him, without telling any adults. Now a full day had passed, and all 4, Noobs, Skip, Beats, and Fessa, still hadn't returned. The whole time he was talking, Ace was shaking from head to toe. I put both my hands on his shoulders and gave him the warmest smile I could muster. You did good, Ace. Now leave the rest to me. I went straight to the Grand Cipher. Needed to recruit as many eyes as I could get. Those kids were my friends, and the future of the skies. I wasn't going to let anything happen to them. Hold on, guys. I'm coming for you.
There have to be traps. Keep your eyes peeled.
Let's go!
Did someone call for justice? They'll be fine. I know they will. This fruit, it's still fresh. They have to be near.
Out of my way! Now! Over here! I'll cover you! I'll cover you! Hey, ugly! Over here!
I taught them how to camouflage themselves in this grass. They probably head out for monsters around here.
You don't think the monsters have already gotten to them?
No, they're okay. They have to be.
Ah! And back! I'm coming! Hey, pick on someone your own size.
Sir Chef!
You guys aren't hurt, right? Just wait a little longer. This'll be over in a jiffy.
Go time!
Sorry, not sorry. Well, look at us.
No way! You won! Looks like the little squirts are doing just fine.
Yeah, I think I need a moment.
Thanks. You did good, Sir Chef.
Skip still had enough in him to put on a brave face. That was a good sign. As I checked the rest of the tykes for injuries, I could feel that familiar tingle in my tear ducts. But I held it in. Kids had gone through enough. Thought a grown man showering them in snot. I'm so glad you pulled through. The Blue Sky Nights really are amazing. Captain Skip immediately lightened the mood by trying to fit his hands around my biceps.
Whoa! I had no idea you were so strong.
Byrne, who'd been hovering nearby, crossed his paws.
You think those tree trunks are just for show? Vane's a trained knight, vice captain of the White Dragons.
The White Dragons? Wait, Sir Chef, you were an actual knight?
Oh no. The upturned eyes of betrayed innocence. The ultimate technique. I started to sweat. I mean, yes, technically, but I hadn't actually lied to them, but hiding the truth was just as bad. I steeled myself for the eruption, but it never came.
Wow, a real knight! You need to let me interrogate you for my notes later.
No wonder you kick butt! Dude, awesome!
I should have known. Those kids would never turn on a friend.
There's this special request.
Wish I could say all's well that ends well, but unfortunately it doesn't work like that. As we started back for Folka, I decided the kids and I needed to have a serious talk. All right, spill it. Why'd you all go into the woods alone?
Noobs was in trouble, and, you know, it's the duty of a knight to help people. I just thought we had to save him.
Skip spoke down to his shoes. I felt my heart drop. It's the duty of a knight to help people. Those had been my words, so I was to blame for this whole mess. Skies above, why do I always... But before I could chase this dark train of thought any further, a small tug on my sleeve brought me back.
All those survival skills you taught us really helped. Yeah, thanks to you, we were able to properly locate food and water, and hide from monsters.
I was so proud of them. But now was not the time to encourage their recklessness with praise. Do you realize how worried everyone was? If anything bad happened, your friends would be hurt big time, and not to mention your families. Yes, as knights, you have a duty to protect. But as people, you have a duty to your loved ones. So remember, the Tykes chimed in for this next line.
Know when to ask for help.
Okay, now it was time to be proud. Crouching so I was eye to eye with the Blue Sky Knights, I held out my pinky. It's a promise, okay? An oath between knights. I recently returned to Folka to find the Tykes holding a serious discussion. According to Skip, they were in big trouble for marching deep into the woods without adult supervision. As punishment, the Blue Sky Knights had to disband. The kids didn't look too upset, though. Au contraire. Skip stood feet apart, head high, one fist reaching for the sky.
Today, we form the Order of Vane.
Guess they'd found a loophole. I mean, what did the grown-ups expect? These kids were joined at the hip.
No one's found the hideout yet. I say we train there till we're all super cool knights like Vane.
Kids and their stupid dreams, right? You know, I never thought that one day I'd have a group of mini-me's, which is nice, but also kind of scary. 'Cause what if you set a bad example, led them down the wrong path, on and on? It's enough to make you want to run and hide. But that's not what knights do. We stand our ground. We support each other. And with the best friends in the skies looking out for me, I know I can become just the kind of hero these kids deserve.